following is a production of Dirty Mo Media. Hey everybody, it's Dale Jr. back again for another episode of the Dale Jr. Download, and we're in the Dirty Mo Media studio, and I'm with my buddy, my co-host, TJ Majors. Yeah,
I'm back.
He's back.
It's been a while.
Man, you don't know what a pain in the ass it is when you take a break because everybody's wondering what's up, what you doing, where you at.
I know.
Is he okay? Everybody thought you was dying, but we all knew that you'd be back. I'm glad you're back.
Yeah, it's been it's hard being away. You don't realize that until you've went through some of it, I'm sure. But
well, you've had to take breaks in the past, so. But
it's just hard to be away from whenever you do it every week to not be there and listen to things and see things when you're normally there. So
I don't like it because when you're not busy spotting, you're telling me all the shit that needs to be going on.
I've only told you a little bit. I should have told you way more. I could have.
Why do you think I want to hear that?
Well, I need to tell somebody.
Oh,
so you're the lucky one.
All right, I'm the lucky one. All right. Well, listen, dude. Me and Amy were talking on the Bless Your Heart podcast about not remembering dreams. Some people can remember all their dreams, right? They wake up and they're like,
I don't remember.
I don't either. I'm not a person that can really remember dreams. And I was like, yeah, I remember maybe about 6 dreams a year, right?
That's a lot.
Really?
No, that's low.
So.
That's low. So
really?
I wake up maybe every couple months and go, oh man, what a wild dream. But usually the majority of the year, I don't wake up in the morning and remember the dream I had.
I don't.
But apparently you dream every night, right? That's what they say.
I don't know.
I had
either.
a dream last night.
Oh, did you remember it? Did you write it down?
Yes, it was scary.
Oh, no.
No, you were in it.
TJ was back.
TJ.
Oh, gosh.
Do you want to know what happened in this dream? It's pretty freaking scary.
Yeah, I mean, if you remembered it, it must be pretty good.
There's bad news for you.
Sounds like it's bad news for you if it's giving you bad dreams.
Yeah, it was bad news for me. I woke up brokenhearted, man. I was sad.
Oh no.
Man. So this is what happened. I'm telling you. I don't know what this all means, but well, I was sitting here. Steve Letarte just texted me that he's filing a complaint to the Racing Insights guys, and I am too. I was just going to talk to Russell about it, but when he gets on the show. Adam Alexander says he co-signs the complaint.
Oh. So the booth is coming after Russell.
Double A.
Yeah. We don't like change and things getting more difficult. But
I've been told that Russell made your life easier, though.
He did, but then it turned right around and undid it all. Anyhow, dream that I had with TJ. So, this dream was like a movie, and there's parts of it that I don't remember, but the one part that I do remember, oh man, it's gonna sound like I'm gonna ramble because it was just you know how dreams are. It's not like you don't have this it's not like you watched the movie and I can just tell you the whole thing. Yeah, it's not clear. Apparently, on the property, I live on this property, kind of like we do now, but apparently on this property there was a dam. And it had steep banks down both sides, like steep.
Like a dam.
Like 8 to 10 stories down.
Yeah.
Yeah, but usually on one side it's full of water. So if you went off the side of the dam into the lake, you go into the water. If you go down to the other side,
you go all the way around.
Yeah. And my dad's farm had a dam like this.
Oh, really?
And I was riding on 4-wheelers one day. This really happened. And I bumped my buddy, and he lost control, went down that
oh no
damn, luckily he did not get hurt. That was the stupidest thing ever. But his name is Walter Balst, and nickname is Monroe, and his uncle is Rick Balst, who was my dad's first employee. Yeah, so Monroe will hear this and he'll remember that. It scared the shit out of me, and every time I think about it, even today, it's terrifying. But anyways, I dreamed in my dream that for some reason there was a car that somebody's car broke. Somebody in our inner circle's car was broken and stuck on the property somewhere. I assumed, Sonny or somebody was going to get it. I'm in the house with Amy, and somebody comes in the house and they're like, I told you Sonny should have gotten them toe chains. I told you Sonny should have gotten them toe chains. And I'm like, what? Who are you? What are you talking about? Shut up. Sonny's my dude. What's happened, right? And apparently you had tried to hook your car or truck or something that you had up to this car to pull it.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell for, but you towed this thing across the dam and the chain broke or whatever, and it pulled you and the car tumbling down that hill.
Oh,
and you were
gone.
Not dead.
Oh,
but
that's bad.
Everybody that I talked to, so like now I don't see you. I don't see you in the dream.
Oh, so you just heard about me.
Everybody starts showing up. Everybody that we've ever known in our lives is showing up on the property, and they're all going. Everybody's got a little bit of information. Oh, he might be paralyzed. They don't know. He might be this. He might be that. And yeah. So like I woke up and was like, holy shit, that was intense. And I was glad it was not true. Glad it was not real.
I will refrain from towing cars just to be safe.
So that's something too. Like I woke up this morning and my instinct was to call your wife and tell her, hey, tell TJ to be careful out there. I don't know what that means. I don't know if it's I need to warn you.
It's like a Final Destination.
Yeah.
Type thing.
Know, I guess because I don't know. I don't know why I had that why that happened.
You know what's really weird is I was driving to the doctor yesterday, and for some reason I passed a tow truck, and I was like, oh man, what if I could do it? What if I could drive a tow truck one day? I really thought that yesterday morning.
Yeah, really. Don't.
Yeah, so I'll just
especially across any bridges, or
dams,
any kind of dams or anything that you could go over the side. Don't.
Okay, wow, that's off the list. No, no tow truck stuff. I've never dreamed a dream, and then later that that dream makes sense because of something that happened in real life, right? So I don't think that you're in danger, but if you would have told me this was Hovis, I'd be like, yeah, it probably could happen.
Yeah, I don't know,
because Hovis has done a lot of stuff.
It's a freaky dream, not the one. I mean, I like waking up and going, badass dream. I'd like to go back to sleep. Let that one keep going.
Yeah, those are the ones I never remember.
You ever had a dream and you've woken up enough to realize that you are awake and it was a dream, and then you're still asleep enough to go right back to sleep and the dream continue?
I did that about a month ago.
Yeah.
I did that.
You ever sleepwalk?
Probably years ago.
I've
never
still do sometimes.
You still do?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I'll get up, walk onto my living room, and then it'll hit me like I'm awake. Like, what am I doing? And then go back to bed.
Our little girls will get up and go downstairs and get a blanket and bring it back up to their bed, and they are like, I didn't go downstairs. I don't remember that. It's like, I think it's it's very common for kids to have night terrors or walk around. They call them night terrors. Some of them are very scary. Like they're upset.
They don't even know what they're doing.
Some night terrors aren't there. I guess some people say some night terrors, they're just kind of wandering around. You don't wake them up, man. They'll freak you out.
Yeah, you can tell when they're half asleep still, and they're not really really comprehending what
you're
telling.
Yeah.
It's scary but hilarious.
Yeah, it is.
Do you ever get confused on where you're sleeping? Like if you've been traveling or vacationing somewhere and you go back home?
Yeah. You wake up in the morning, you're like, I don't remember. Like last night. Yeah. It's kind of had that a little bit this morning. After Michigan, I went straight to where the girls were. They're on vacation at the coast of Carolina. And then last night I flew home and I went to bed, and I woke up this morning and I was like, I'm home, all alone. And I had a bad dream.
It is really weird when it's super quiet at your house too.
Couldn't get a hug from Amy. It's okay, TJ's okay. That's not real.
It is is it not weird waking up in your house being real quiet?
TJ,
I'll be
I should have called you.
Why didn't you just call TJ?
Yeah, I should have.
Should have just called me.
Well, it's kind of one of them weird things. You're 50 years old. You call your buddy and go, man, I had a bad dream. You got hurt.
Wait, but you were going to call his wife?
Well, I was going to call her and tell her to just, hey, man, tell TJ to be cool out there, man.
Drive safe in.
Hey, no dams, no tow trucks today, okay?
A woman would have
empathy and say, all right, I get it. You had a bad dream. You're worried about your buddy.
Yeah, I would have been. If you'd
TJ
asked,
would have been like,
"It's
"It's
the hell's his
weird."
problem?" Yeah. Is he all right today? I mean, I'd
This
probably
is weird. This is a weird way to throw me off my game because we're gonna have to play the national championship.
Yeah,
tonight.
this is an odd way to get me.
Yeah, this
confused.
is an odd way to confuse me.
This is an odd way to confuse me. That is definitely would have been odd.
Me and TJ play in the national championship.
Again.
The Charlotte 49ers versus the Michigan Wolverines.
Yep.
Y'all,
I want to talk about the race,
talk about
man.
Racing. Yeah, let's talk about racing. Michigan. The Michigan race was awesome. Michigan race had all the things. Really solid racing, a lot of great battles. Fuel strategy that was even exciting. Where do you even start? Michigan, I see in here in your notes what makes Michigan an underrated track. It's not really an underrated track. Michigan is a track you go to and you're like, I don't have a clue what we're going to get here. You might get the race that we had this weekend, or you might get one where a guy runs away and, man, there's not much action.
Yeah, that's happened many times before.
Yeah. It can turn into a fuel mileage race that is extremely tough to make interesting. But it's my belief that every race is interesting. You just got to work at it more than, with some more than others. But there is no, there are some tough ones. Martin Truex Jr. at Kentucky, 17-second lead or something, just killed him all night. It was like, holy crap. It was I think it's my first year as a broadcaster, and I'm like, damn, this is a tough one. But, luckily we had a really, really strong race right from the get-go. The restarts at Michigan are always going to be fun. You're always going to have somebody taking it 3 wide down into turn 1. You're always going to have somebody having a problem off of turn 2. They're in the wrong line. They get bottled up. You're always going to have that same person defending down the back straightaway. Somebody's going to go into 3 and get in bad air and make a mistake and slip up the track. There's just always a ton of things to talk about, and
that's always going to happen.
And the racing and the cars, like, talking to a driver or two after the race, they're like, yeah, it's pretty fun. But you can still see them. They're miserable in traffic, right?
They are, yeah.
And when we go back to like 20th to 30th, they're just trying to not get in somebody's wake. Mm-hmm. They're not really like, oh, I'm gonna attack
this. Move.
I'm gonna make a move. I'm gonna attack this corner. I'm gonna run high here. I'm gonna create some speed and pass this guy on us. They're just like, I'm going in the corner and I'm gonna try to find the one lane everybody's not using.
That's exactly what it is.
That's it.
Yeah.
And and there'll be 1 or 2 guys that end up making the wrong decision and they're in the wake of the car in front of them, and they slide.
And it might have been the right decision to start with. Somebody pulls in front of them too. But that happens.
You just sit there and you're ready for it. You're like, all right, here he goes in the corner. He's going to follow that car. He's going to lose all kinds of speed. He's going to lose a couple spots, and that's that's the battle. And I think it's something I've decided to lean into as a broadcaster and as a fan. We are not going to the racing at the 1.5 miles, the racing at Michigan. You're going to leave that race, and is everything perfect? Maybe not. But we're not changing anything about. You're not going to walk out of that racetrack after that race and go, gosh, I can't wait till they're going to change this. And NASCAR's not leaving that racetrack going, oh, we got to work on it. So what I've decided to do is embrace a couple of things about the next gen car that might not be my favorite thing about it, but it's here to stay, right? And that is how defending has become a strategy and a skill. We even rate the defense of a driver every week and average it to that driver's ability throughout the season. It is something that you have to be good at in this car. And what that is basically is driving and looking at that mirror, and as you go into the corner, if you're leading the race or whatever, you want to control your position, you look in the mirror, you see where the other car chose to run, and you try to get in front of that car, or a little bit, you try to dirty the air up in front of that competitor behind you. That's defending. That's blocking, air blocking, aero blocking. There's a lot of names for it. But it is a skill, and it is part of the strategy to being good at this race, at this style of racing. It is something you need to do to sustain track position throughout the day, to give yourself the best opportunity at the best result at the end of the day. And it's something that we're going to talk about, and we're going to celebrate it when somebody's good at it. And so there's two things that I've learned about the next gen car in terms of dirty air. And the air that goes around the next gen car goes around it and stays tied to it really tight. Okay? So the wake of the older car was like a boat wake and came off in a V. And so if you were behind it, it was dirtier for a wider portion of the racetrack. Okay? And so that was worse than what we have today. The next gen car's wake is really narrow, and it's more concentrated behind the car instead of coming off in a V or a wake. So if you offset one lane, you're in pretty good shape. You can get clean air to your car if you offset one lane either left or right of the car in front of you. The thing that's bad about that is that column of air that is behind the lead car is much dirtier than the old car. It's denser and dirtier, and so directly behind somebody is far worse than it's ever been in the history of the sport.
Yeah, it's bad.
Now, if you go to a single lane racetrack, the racing is not as good because of that very thing. Martinsville, one lane. Road courses, one lane. All that starts to make really good sense. Wherever we're going to go somewhere and have a single lane racetrack, you're not going to be able to pass the car in front of you.
Bad air.
You're not. You will not pass the car in front of you because the air is just too nasty. Wherever we go where you can offset, run a different groove, and still run a somewhat competitive time, we're going to have awesome racing like we had this weekend. So that's not changing. I don't think that that's something NASCAR is looking to adjust or change or make anything different. So if it's here, and if it's here, we love the sport, we're hanging around, we're going to do this job, we're going to be a part of this, I'm going to lean into that. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about, man, this driver's trying, this is what the drivers are trying to do. This is why it's frustrating. This is why, for the guy out in front, it's awesome. I got a really good defense to everything going on behind me. That was something that we obviously have talked a lot about over the last several years with this car, and it's something that we're gonna see more and more because all the drivers are knowing that that's got to be a tool in their toolbox, and some, it also goes it also kind of goes a bit against the ethics or the code that several of them grew up on. You don't really drive this way in the trucks or Xfinity. You can to a point. You can aero block a little bit, but you kind of got to run the line that you need to run to make the best lap time. So when you get into this car, you've got to really go to school to learn the aero and how it works.
Big thing.
Yeah, huge.
For sure.
Right? So like TJ, when you're tutoring, or not tutoring, but when you're working throughout the week with an Xfinity driver, veteran or rookie, it doesn't matter. You're telling them y'all are going over different tools than you are with the Cup car because of how different the aero is, right? The Xfinity car has the dirty air and the wake similar to the old car, right? It comes off in a V. It's kind of wide, and you got to get really kind of way up the track or way down the track to really get that clean air, but you can kind of follow them because it's not too terribly nasty behind somebody. And so the defending there, I won't really talk about, oh man, that Xfinity driver, great defending. Because the dirty you
can get to the back of another Xfinity car and get them loose.
Yeah, you can.
So that's a tool, an offensive tool.
Yeah. So we won't, that's something that we see a lot, and we're seeing more and more become more important. That was very evident during the race at Michigan when somebody would drive down, the following car would go down in the bottom of the corner, and the guy out front would change his lane in the middle of the corner and drive across his nose and just kill the guy's speed. The guy would have, as soon as the guy driving behind sees that person driving down the track, and they're like, damn, he's going to try to block me. He's going to air block me. He's going to drive in, he's going to put his wake in front of me. They already know they got to lift. Before they ever feel that dirty air, they're already preparing and lifting. Because if not, they might bust their ass, like literally wreck. Whether you're on the track or the job, wherever you are, things can go wrong. All right. Mistakes and mishaps happen. It's just part of it. What matters is how fast you see them and what you do next. That's where safety culture comes in. You might recognize safety culture from being one of the Trackhouse Racing sponsors, but what you may not know is that Safety Culture is an app that gives your team a simple way to flag issues, assign tasks, and schedule maintenance all right there in real time. You see a problem, you take a photo, tag somebody, done. This allows things to get fixed with no waiting or back and forth. And the best part, everybody sees it, from the crews on the ground to the head office making key decisions. No one is guessing, everyone is on the same page, keeping your business running smoothly. In motorsports, work is fast-paced, and we have no time for second guessing. If crew chiefs, drivers, and pit crews aren't on the same page, it could cost you the race. Safety Culture helps your business operate like a well-oiled race team, keeping everything running smoothly and in sync. When everyone's on the same page from the floor to the front office, things run smoother, your team gets better every day. That is what Safety Culture is all about. Want to see how it could work for your crew? Head to safetyculture.com/SVG. Pretty exciting race, though. A lot of different players up front. Chase Elliott led some laps. For all the Chase Elliott fans out there that are hoping that he'll get himself back to victory lane. Some team, the fuel strategy ended up turning the field and churning the field.
A couple times.
Yeah, several times. There's a couple things here. The 77 car of Hocevar. He had more speed again. 3 weeks in a row they've had race winning speed, I would say.
I don't know if he had race winning speed.
Yeah.
Top three car.
I would say definitely a top 10 car because he never really drove to the front, in my opinion.
But not a lot of people did.
A good car.
Yeah.
Really good car.
They had another week where they had a chance to win the race. I can't really say, though, he had a chance to win.
That's what I'm saying.
They didn't have the fuel.
No, that's what I'm. That was my argument in our group chat. Like everyone's like, "Oh, Hocevar had a shot at winning."
He didn't have a shot.
He did not have a shot at winning. That's my point.
If they ran long enough, and the caution comes out, and everybody's like, "Gosh, we can't," enough laps left. We all got to come get tires. Then maybe he's got the track position, and there's a chance to win. But if the race goes green, he didn't have the fuel,
and he wasn't driving like he had
Well, he knew it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. He was super aggressive leading the race because that was his play.
Yeah.
Do you like that strategy for them?
No,
I don't.
Because they can't get to the finish.
No, they were top 10 almost all day. You're throwing away a top 10.
A big points day.
And if you get a late yellow and you're running 7th and you get a good restart and there's a wreck in front of you, you're running top 3, you have a shot at winning.
Well, Hocevar lost 14 points to the bubble. That's a tough one to. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure where they might have ended up if they didn't make that gamble, but he's 18 out of the playoffs, 18 points out of the playoffs currently, lost 14 to the bubble. So, yeah, I mean, if they just kind of, if they take the 10th or the 12th or the 8th place finish.
I think he's 5th to 10th easily on a normal day.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing if you're Byron rolling the dice, you
have a win.
He's got wins.
You already got the win and you were closer, too.
Well, I think there's a pressure too to try to find. I don't know. He didn't have the fuel to get to the finish. Anybody with a top 15 or a top 20 car could have tried that strategy and led the race and looked just like him.
That's what I'm saying. I would have expected somebody from 20th to do that.
Yeah,
and shoot for the.
I'm just saying, like
he has speed. He don't need to do that.
Yeah,
in my opinion, but
hey.
Made it exciting.
He didn't.
He had a solid day.
He did have a solid day, and he didn't turn anybody.
Yeah, we should celebrate that.
Yeah.
One week.
One
keep
week.
A little we need a
Yeah.
board.
One
we
week.
need a board.
1 week without incident.
Would you like to buy a square?
I'm just kidding. We're just joking.
I hope there's an incident this week.
Listen.
Hey, I got a question. When he had the flat tire, was there not like, were you not thinking like, oh, is he going to spin out here? Like coming to,
Dude, all right.
I thought so. I was like, is he going to do it?
I would, so that's a great point, TJ. Carson Hocevar has a flat tire going down the back straightaway leading the race.
Which I believe was self-inflicted.
I'm standing air pressure.
Or swerving as much as he was with because he was swerving every straightaway.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think about that. He did a lot of, he did try to break the draft a lot. You never know how that might have affected the tire, but
I know they're pretty fragile, and if you're close on air, that can't help it.
yeah.
But yeah, coming to pit road, though, I was like,
He has the flat tire going down the back straightaway, and I'm standing in the booth, and I'm like, he's going to spin this.
same thing I thought.
He's going to spin
I
it out.
swore he's going to do that.
I did too. I thought he would get down toward the entrance to pit road and just do a little fun loop and get backwards on pit road.
Hit the edge of the grass or something. I don't know, just something.
Yep. And then they throw the yellow. Carson Hocevar, I would have felt like that was a lock bet.
Yeah.
Minus 500.
Yes. Carson Hocevar drives at the pit road. I mean, I gotta give him some credit.
Yep.
That's growth.
Yeah, it is. I'll say the same thing. It's a sign of growth and
Massive.
maturity.
Yeah. This is the same kid, you think back to the things that, he's decided to do on the racetrack back in the day or back in the last probably 24 months. I was really surprised that he didn't try to self-spin on the pit road.
Mm-hmm. Those are the things that he needs to do, though, that to continue building everyone's trust in him to do the right thing.
Yeah. Does that move gain respect with the drivers?
I don't think the drivers will take note.
It doesn't hurt, but if he did do it on purpose, it would hurt his reputation with the drivers.
I don't. Yeah. I mean, if he had spun it out, it would have been like, go figure.
Yeah.
Go figure. But he brings it to pit road, and that was a
smart move.
Smart move. I agree. I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of guys in the field will spun thing out. Don't you? I mean, maybe just a couple.
Yeah, now it's less and less now.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see it. I don't think about it as much anymore.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So Hocevar continues to be competitive.
Yeah.
And will that continue? Is this what we? I don't have the answer for this today. I'm not asking you to answer it, but I'm just asking it out into the middle distance. Is the 77 car running in the top 5 or even the top 10 every week what we ought to expect going forward? Because, I mean, I wasn't paying that much attention. I don't know whether – I thought I was kind of watching Carson, but it just feels like these last 3 weeks they've kind of lurched forward about 10 spots on average.
I just think he's found a way to finish some.
Yeah, I don't remember him running up in the top 3 in any other races.
They're definitely probably a tier above where they would normally run.
Does he win this year?
Oh, I feel like it could happen at any track. Yeah.
I don't know yet. I feel like he has the speed, but I don't know if he has the brain, the skill to put the whole race together yet.
Yeah. Well,
so he needs to keep doing it. And
he kind of proved to me at Nashville that he can put a race together. He's sitting there running.
That's a tough place.
It is, and he ended up bringing it home, getting the result right. Didn't wreck the car, trying too hard. I just feel like he's maturing. Hopefully, I'm hopeful that he's maturing rapidly right here in front of us.
He is. He was also competitive in the truck race.
Well, yeah, that's not a surprise to me.
Well, I'm saying and he was fast in the late model. Whatever he gets in,
and goes.
And
he's a special talent.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He
gets in is just fast.
He's a special talent.
Yeah,
that's for sure. I mean, and I don't know. There's only there's not that many drivers
that can do that.
That get in a car and make it go better. So I don't know if I can articulate this, Travis, but all of these drivers, I'm looking at the list. I'm looking at the playoff leaderboard. All of these drivers, if I put a car on pit road and I say, yep, I think Joe Logano can get in this car and he's going to run a 29 flat. I could put the top 25 drivers in the series in that car, and they'll go out there and run a 29 flat. All of them. They'll run that car as good as Joey. They can run that lap. All of them can do it. I'll put Larson in it, and he'll run a 90 or an 89 or something like that, and you'll go, yep, that's Larson. He's a worldly talent. You'll put and you could put Hocevar in it, and he might run that 95. He's that kind of guy that can get it in a car and get just a tick more, and there's not many that can do it.
No.
And that's what you need with these next gen cars.
Yeah. Like Kyle Busch,
he used to be.
He may still be that guy. We don't really know how this equipment might be masking what Kyle's talent is today, but like Kyle Busch was one of those guys.
Yeah.
If the field can run a flat, he's going to get in the same exact car and go out on the track and run an 85. Nothing against the rest of the field. They're all elite. They are all, if you put all the Xfinity guys in that car, they're going to run a 29-15.
So why does McDowell not and Haley not run, where Hocevar is? Because I thought McDowell was going to go over there and be really competitive.
Honestly, I feel like that McDowell. I feel like what you see is what you get. I think do you think if you put McDowell in any other car that you get different results?
Well, I mean, I look at last year and McDowell was on the front row of 3, 4, 5 races last year maybe, and led a lot. And this year I just don't quite see that. Yeah. I don't quite see him leading the laps that he did. It just makes me wonder if was like front row a better fit for McDowell?
Well, McDowell, I would say that you could make the argument that McDowell got out of the A car at front row into the B car at Spire. But, I've having some conversations with some people in the know. Mike McDowell is somebody that at front row and now at Spire is hiring and picking out and hand picking and building not only his program but the other programs. He's the one he's in the conversations and the meetings around salaries and mechanic and this engineer, and he's out there looking for this guy and that guy, and this team needs a hold of field and we got to improve in this spot, and he's actively playing a role in helping the entire team, not just his, do that.
Yeah, he's smart too.
Right. And so apparently, Michael McDowell apparently played a massive role in building out that front row team to be able to get it as good as they did to where they could go and win a race at Indy on the road course, right? And be competitive and make the playoffs. And I remember writing notes in my phone about it. It's no longer a surprise, or should no longer act surprised when Michael McDowell runs in the top 10, because they got to where they were doing it quite regularly with their front row car. But he's got out of that program. He got into a Spire program that continues to change and evolve. Spire was a team that ran it as a business, and what I mean is they didn't go to the racetrack and say, "Man, we're gonna go put everything we can into this car and try to go win." They built a race car. They knew what they spent to get to the track. They knew exactly where they needed to run to be able to break even, and they did
it. They tried to do it.
Yeah, they're like, "Hey, man, we need to," and they would put Chastain or other people in that car in the Spire 77, and they'd say, "Hey, man, our goal today is to run 25th to 30th, so don't that up, right? And don't try harder and it up. Like our goal is to run in that window. Now, if everybody crashes out in front of us and we ended up third, awesome. But look, we've got to finish better than 30th, because that if we don't, we're losing money today. And so they ran it as a business, and you didn't have great engines, you didn't have great race cars, everything was secondhand, hand-me-down stuff.
Pit crew, everything.
Well, some of that's probably still a little true at Spire. Now the next gen changes things a little bit, but these teams at Hendrick Motorsports and Joe Gibbs Racing are sciencing out these next gen cars, and like every single body panel is hand selected. Like, we've looked at this body panel and it is just a tick better than this one. This is the one you're going to get. And so you got to imagine that as all that stuff trickles down, the Michael McDowells of the world are going to the racetrack with a little bit here and a little bit there, a thousandth here, a thousandth there, that's just a little bit off, right? That he's racing. He's kind of racing.
And that matters.
That matters today. When you stack all that stuff up with this car,
you
have to have it. So Michael McDowell, I think, can he get this program better? Hell yeah.
Sure.
All right. Are they where they want to be? Probably not. Their Hocevar's pushing them, motivating them. He's out there running better, and that's a good motivator. I don't know how much better, though, that Michael McDowell can be.
What about Justin Haley? Like last year around this time, he was becoming a pretty hot commodity because he had he was inside the top 10, with cars that maybe shouldn't have been there. And, I feel like at this time last year, he was kind of getting, everyone's like, oh, Justin Haley's running ninth.
Justin Haley was a good free agent in this sport. People were like, I guess, really for Rick Ware and did some pretty interesting,
really solid runs.
Some pretty curious, solid runs in that car. And he has leveraged that into this opportunity at Spire. But since he's been there, it's been awful.
It has been, yeah.
It has been bad.
I thought it was going to be better than
I did too. They got Rodney Childers in there, and I'm sitting there thinking, damn, that's an awesome. I felt like that had the potential to be the best Spire car.
Yeah.
And it's been the opposite. Rodney, got out of there. We'll never really know. Rodney's going to tell his side of the story.
We'll never really know.
He's never going to say anything negative about anybody.
No.
And the Spire guys aren't going to say anything bad about Rodney. We'll never know what really happened there. But I think that derailed Haley a little bit. Anytime you have a crew chief change mid-season, it's not awesome. But and it hasn't seemed to have made Haley's deal much different. I saw him flash a little bit at Michigan. You got some track position, but it just
didn't have that. Doesn't have that same edge now. It doesn't look like
his cars don't seem like they can do what he needs them to do.
Do you think they're putting all the emphasis on the 77?
That goes back to something I was kind of saying just a moment ago. Spire's been this team that's evolved and changed. They went from just running it as a business to now, at least with the 77,
we're fast.
Racing to win, right? All right, man, go out there, run as hard as you want, take all the chances you need to take. Michael McDowell, it seems, has a little bit of that freedom as well. And I don't think that Justin Haley's being told not to go for it, but how much discrepancy, I guess, is it between that 77 and the 7? How similar are the parts and pieces?
Sure.
The cars are very much the same. Everybody gets the same, but I'm telling you, these top teams, man, they got a favorite part, right? If you buy 10 A-frames or 10 right rear quarter panels or 10 rockers,
everything,
all
piece.
of them, they're going to look at all of them and go, yeah, I think this is the best one out of the bunch.
Mm-hmm.
And this is my least favorite one because it's got this, it's not quite exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Shape's just a little different. So, and like you say, and the teams will tell you, you stack all that tiny stuff up, and you've got a small advantage.
Hey TJ, I like that phone. Is it new?
Yeah, I got this awesome new phone. I've recently joined the Consumer Cellular family, And they hooked me up with a great phone and great service.
You're telling me that your phone actually works at the racetracks?
Yeah, my phone has been excellent at the racetracks. And honestly, you can't beat the Consumer Cellular service and the offers they have going right now.
I mean, that's cool, but I'm assuming that it's probably kind of expensive, right?
Yeah, that's funny. Consumer Cellular is a steal of a deal. I don't know why more people have not made this switch. Nationwide service, fraction of the price, the 2 for $60 plan, no long-term contract. I mean, it's awesome.
All right, I'm in. So how do I get this deal?
They basically have an elite pit crew on standby waiting for you to call and make the switch. It's 100% U.S.-based customer service. Takes around 20 minutes, and it'll be one of the best decisions you ever make. And now it couldn't be a better time to switch to Consumer Cellular and get $25 off with code DJD25. That's DJD25 for $25 off when you switch to Consumer Cellular. Go to consumercellular.com/DJD and use promo code DJD25.
Denny Hamlin ends up winning the race on fuel mileage. I mean, he had one of the best cars, if not the best car.
He did have a really good car.
The best. Yeah, it wasn't like he, just the 24 ran as hard as he could. If the 24 has enough fuel, can he run harder? Can he be faster? Is he better than the 11? The 11 was good all weekend. Had great speed in practice.
Yeah, he was good.
And when he needed to turn it on at the end, it was pretty impressive.
He did everything right. The strategy was right. The calls at the end, what the position he was in.
I was kind of surprised, though, that their fuel mileage was as good as it was comparable to the rest of the field.
I think they got lucky.
Why is that?
So on their last pit stop, Joel, their tire changer, he missed it on the first try on the left rear, had to readjust the tire, and then made
sure
they
got more fuel.
Gave him a beat.
So it gave him an extra beat to stay in. So I wonder if that helped them. Because I think their final pit stop was 11.84.
Yeah. They came out.
Oh, that's
12
slow.
or something.
That's slow for
it was almost a second more than Byron, and Gibbs was like a 9.18.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Still
made it work.
It did.
And if you'd have told me at the halfway point, oh, Denny Hamlin's going to win the race and he wins, I would not have been surprised.
Yeah.
Like, he was that fast. You could have said Byron, Denny, or you could have told me Chris Buescher once, and I would not have been surprised if one of those three guys won the race.
RFK had all their cars in the top 10, TJ. Yeah. I had a guy on, so we had the post-race show, and toward the end of the post-race show, they ran the Buescher interview, who ran second. And some people complained that we should have ran that interview earlier in the post-race.
Fans are fine. They're got to complain about something. We've reached that point already.
It is great. It is great. It is great broadcasting, or it is good coverage. But yeah, I would have loved that Buescher interview. There was one guy on social media that tried to tell me that there wasn't a Buescher interview in the post-race.
Really?
Y'all didn't interview second. Like, we did.
Yeah.
Buescher's interview was just so Buescher that the guy didn't even remember it.
You guys made it 2 weeks. Now you got complaints.
Buescher, tell Buescher to,
You can't. He's not. That's Chris.
I know, dude.
That's just Chris.
Come on. Can he not have a little emotion?
I mean, some guys.
He's got it in there.
Chris is just a quiet guy.
He is.
But he's just.
I like that about him, except for when he's giving a post-race interview after he ran second. Can he give us a little bit more?
What did you want from him, to be happy?
I don't want him to be happy. I just want him to say more and give me some emotion of some sort.
I'll accept that.
I mean, that's just
Buescher was just a little too Buescher.
Yeah, which I think that's great. That's him, man.
Well, it's not great, but
you know what it does? It makes the other guys.
I like him.
Yeah, no, he's a
great dude.
Yeah, he's a great dude. And honestly, he's
also a race car driver. Sometimes he gets out and it's like he just painted somebody's living room. It's like, we got that wall done, and we got
fed the chickens.
Fed the chickens, and picked out a color and painted the room, and we're good. We're done.
That's definitely things Denny's not going to say.
I'm like, dude, you just drove a damn car, run second, and you're 20 points above the cut line, and give me some emotion. Just tell me something, just anything.
Oh man, we'll have to ask him.
It's like he just got done mowing the lawn.
Yep, another day. Finish second. Go get a glass of sweet tea and feed the chickens.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
I like it. I think it's cool.
I don't know.
It's just Chris, though. I mean, that's just him. And,
yeah, I know. He's one of a kind. That's for
he
sure.
is. And honestly, seeing him the last 3-4 years win, how many races he won? 5-6 races in the last 4 years?
He's a talent.
Yeah, he's come a long way. Yep. So
the biggest issue in the Cup Series today is that every race is going to be a fuel mileage race. So, which is great for Steve and strategy talk, and as a broadcaster, it's a lot of meat on the bone. But the reason why every race is a fuel mileage race is because the single lug wheel. It's quicker by far
faster
to put 4 tires on the car than it is to fill it full of fuel. So, if it takes long to fill the car up full of fuel, you're going to try to do that as least as possible, or spread that out over the many stops you're going to make during the day, so you don't need to take the entire full tank on several stops. You can come down pit road and just get what you need
and leave.
And at the end of the race, you finish the race really on very little, if any, gas at all. And so, yeah, I think that's the world we're in now because of the single lug wheel, and also the fact that the tires
That's what I was going to bring
up. And a lot
of
places don't necessarily need to be changed.
The tires last too long.
Tires are too good.
They're not as important.
Yeah.
So if you
at some tracks, they're trying to. Goodyear said that they can get more aggressive, and they want to get more aggressive on the soft tire. They just have reached the limit in how to get that tire softer with the physical technology they have. Like, they're going to have to build new molds, new technology to be able to get that tire even softer. They're going to, but I
haven't been here, so I was really disappointed after Nashville.
They reached the limit on how soft they can make the tires with the tools they have.
I don't think fans can complain with what Goodyear right now, because they've been trying.
Goodyear's doing it.
Yeah,
they're trying. They're always trying.
I'm just saying, until they can figure out a way to fuel the car faster than changing the tires, we're going to have lots of conversation around fuel.
So what would you change?
Well, I mean, you've made the tire changing part last, 9 seconds?
Roughly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Average. Yeah.
So how can you get the car to fuel faster?
The fueling mechanism's got to change.
Yeah. And is that asking for, could get dangerous, could become dangerous, having a pressurized fuel system or something on pit road that is going to get that stuff in there quicker? I don't know. Right now it's just gravity fed, right?
Yeah.
And so that would be a way, but that's probably something that NASCAR and the teams don't want to travel down that road. Think about IndyCar has those crazy systems.
I wonder if you could somehow change just the fuel can itself, so that it flows faster.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
I mean, could you make the fuel can, the filler part, a half-inch bigger?
I don't know if that would make a difference.
Well, I'm just saying, is that,
I don't know.
Not change the weight of the can, but change. I guess it wouldn't matter though. I mean, you'd have to change the fuel, the neck, and all that.
Yeah.
But
well, that's just that's what we're up against. And this, the single lug wheel, as a driver, it's nice. Well,
what's wrong with fuel mileage races at 1.5 miles? So
I don't know. I mean, you don't want every single one to be a fuel mileage race.
But so I mean, what about do the stages mess that up? Do the stages make it a fuel mileage race? Because if you just go to a natural caution,
I don't know.
I'm just saying, do the stages, do they
aid
Yes.
in it? Yeah, probably, maybe. But I still feel like that you're going to run the race as you would run road courses, right? When we took the stages away from the road courses a couple years back, everybody just, it got boring and dumb because everybody just ran the races traditionally backwards, right? They do the fuel mileage backwards, and they start coming to pit road as soon as they can make it, right? And they're going to try to spend as little time as possible on pit road putting fuel in the car. So if we took the stages away at Michigan, as soon as you can get in the window to get home and make it, you're coming to pit road, and you're taking just as much fuel as you need, and nobody's going to pit in the last, I don't know, 40 laps or so.
So what makes a stage break good at a road course? Because a restart?
Yeah. Just throwing a caution and
but we've also been on the other
and,
side of it too, though, where we had the stage break and then we go and have like 6 restarts in a row because y'all keep wrecking each other.
Yeah.
So
and nobody's complaining. I mean,
people complain about that though too.
Nah, not enough.
Indy,
not enough people.
They had to change the restart zones because of it.
Yeah. I mean, there's problematic things at certain racetracks for sure. But what I'm just saying is that the single lug wheel has made the stop changing of the tires so fast that now, and this isn't a new thing. This is something we've known with the next gen for a while. But so the fuel mileage conversation is now dominating almost every single event, except for like a Martinsville or a Bristol. But even the big, the big mile and a halfs like Charlotte and all them places, it's the fuel is, working that fuel and making sure you're on pit road the least amount as possible, especially at the end of the race.
Yeah. Could you change the fuel cell to make it bigger?
To take even longer to put more fuel in it?
So you have more to start and...
No. You're only going to start with what you need. I don't know. I mean, you wouldn't want a bigger fuel cell, I don't think.
Really, they just gotten too good at changing the tires that's what it's...
Yeah, the tires are too...
It's not... It's not the... What you're saying.
Also, something that I saw on social media, the overtime rule. Now, not so much this is not so much a Cup thing, but in the Xfinity and the trucks. And I feel this as an Xfinity owner. I think it might be time to have a conversation around overtime in those two classes, the trucks and Xfinity. And I saw this, and I wish I would have tagged the person that brought this up. But it was really, really well articulated. And I had never thought about it like this. So in other sports, overtime is used to help decide a game that the ending is in question, right? Both teams have ended regulation with the same score. Should we apply a more specific, similar framework to NASCAR races? Should we only have an overtime attempt if the lead was contested? And we could all sit down, have a long conversation around what a contested lead is. Maybe we all decided that, man, when the caution came out, if the lead was within 1 second, that would draw an overtime. Because we would then say, well, it was a contested lead. There was a chance for second to do something in the final lap. If the lead was maybe more than that, by any means, a second and a half to 20 seconds, the race is over. The leader was in clear control on the final lap, and there should be no overtime because he or she was going to win the race. And so that's something that I thought was a really healthy idea. And the reason why is because we, as you know, the truck teams and the Xfinity teams, we go to some of these racetracks, Daytona and Talladega specifically, and destroy 80% of the field. And a lot of times we have unnecessary overtimes that cost us a lot of race cars. And all of these teams, ours included, is working on a budget. And those type of events where you're sitting there, you got a clean truck or a clean Xfinity car, you're running 12th. You've had a long day, you've worked hard to get there. And then you have 3 or 4 overtimes for no damn reason, or because somebody's a bunch of and you end up getting the damn body ripped off your
Big
car.
wrecks.
You come home with an 18th or 20th place finish, and all the panels are destroyed.
It's
That's
unnecessary.
It's frustrating.
Is a second, in your opinion, a big enough lead to do that?
Well, that's the That's not necessarily the conversation here.
I think you are right. I agree with you, though.
Yeah, I think we need to, at least at those two levels. It's not necessarily something that we have to do in Cup because you're hoping that they're the elite, best drivers in the world. They wouldn't need this safety net. But maybe down in those 2 other series, we decide what is a contested lead. And if it's not contested and the caution comes out, fans and us as an industry should embrace the idea that that race was over, right? I'm sorry that the caution flag is waving as the winner crosses the finish line, but he or she was in clear control when that caution falls. Now, if it's a tight battle for the front, then it would trigger an overtime, right? And then we could you could just carry on as the rules are today in that scenario. And if you tear up a bunch of shit, it's a risk you take, I suppose. I don't love unlimited overtimes. I don't know what. Yeah, but I would just love, because sometimes, man, these races are pretty much decided and over with, and we'll have a late yellow or something that draws an overtime. I don't know. Worth a conversation. Did you watch the truck race?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What were your thoughts about that?
Truck race was exciting.
Yeah.
I thought the truck race it looked fun. I was highly entertained watching it. Those guys could get runs. They could get. I mean, it was just the trucks are. It was wild.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was exciting. Those guys can manipulate air a lot of the other ways than Cup cars, and they do it.
Yeah.
So
Ram is back in the Truck Series. Ram announced that it's going to return to the Truck Series. It competed from 1995 to 2016. That's a long run.
it is.
Yeah. They had 3 manufacturer championships from 01, 03, and 04, 2 driver championships. They did not reveal which teams will support their program next year, but they should have multiple entries on the track in 2026. Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it is. They're going. They want to go Cup racing. They're not coming to the Truck Series
Just to be there.
just to run trucks.
Yep.
Be curious to see what, if anything, they do in the Xfinity Series. I think the Xfinity Series is going through an evolution anyways. They may pause on that to see kind of where the Xfinity Series is in 5 years, right? What's its identity? What even type of vehicles are we racing?
So you're saying they could go from truck to Cup.
They might just do trucks and Cup only. I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah.
It's exciting. I think it's cool they come back.
Yeah. I saw this note in here about Denny Hamlin 3 wins away from 60. And I'm not hating that conversation. He's got 57 wins at age 44. What other driver might get to that 60 win mark? Logano's 35 years old and has 37 wins. Logano, in my opinion, is the only one that could probably get there. Larson,
it's gonna be tough.
Yeah,
That's tough, man.
Larson can do it. The only thing is like Larson and Joey have to stay in championship winning cars to get to that number.
Yeah, have to.
That's the problem, right? If something happens and there's new drivers coming in, there's always the next best thing and the next greatest guy. And as long as you don't become the B or the C driver at even the great team, right? As long as Joey is in championship cars and Kyle Larson is in championship cars, which that sounds crazy to think they would never be, but you just never know what happens in 5 years or 10 years. And Larson might not even want to race that long. You don't know.
Yeah.
He might race till he's 60. Who knows? He might win 80 races. But on that list, I don't know. It's hard to see.
Denny had the perfect scenario to do this. I mean, he's been in
one of the best
cars
been with a great team since the beginning.
And Larson came in, his hand. I mean, he gave
Larson
away
missed some years.
for sure.
Yeah, driving to 42.
Yep.
The other conversation that I like around Denny is how many more?
Easy, Travis.
How many more will he win? So I saw this, and we talked about this in the pre-race, post-race, during the race. I don't know. But another thing I saw on social media that I was like, damn, that's a cool stat. After 700 starts, Jeff Gordon won 6 races. After 700 starts, Harvick won 7.
Those are big names.
Take Richard Petty off the list because he won 22 after 700 starts, but he was
Different
38
era.
or 39 when he made his 700 start. So, hell, I mean, he in the take him off the list. At the top of this list, most wins after 700 starts, it's Harvick with 7, Jeff Gordon with 6, and then it's like 3s and 2s and 1s. Denny just won. So he's got 1 after 700. How many more does he win? Before that race at Michigan, I thought the over-under was 6. The line was 6 wins. Like, could you imagine going into Michigan thinking Denny Hamlin's going to win only 6 races the rest of his life at the Cup level? That's crazy. But that's what the odds would say. Now he's maybe moved that line to maybe 8 or 9 wins. Maybe 10 wins?
I guess the guess is
since he won this weekend.
How many years do you think he races?
The years don't matter. The years do not matter.
I think they do.
No, they don't.
Well, if he only races for 1 more year, he ain't going to get 8.
Well, that's easy to say. But he's going to run for another year. So he may run. I mean, the guy may be looking at 2 years. But if he still wins 3 races, is he going to really retire? If he's still winning? You don't think he'll be lured to go drive for his own team for a little while?
I think that's more of a chance.
Man, yeah, he's just going to be like, oh, hell.
And winning's going to become
I
harder.
drive for myself.
It's going to be harder
I'm
when
going
you
to
go
run at least
there.
1 year from us. He's going to – I think he has a plan in his mind when he thinks he's going to retire. But I think that he's going to find out when he gets to that doorstep, it's going to be harder to do than he thinks. But if Jeff Gordon won 6 and Harvick won 7, and they – we're on the higher end of the range, right? They are the ones that won more than anyone else outside of Richard Petty. How many? Denny exceeded the race to 60, right? Because he was in a great car. He's still in a great car. He's still got an opportunity to overachieve in these final years. He feels like he's at the top of his game, driving better than ever. But could you imagine if he only wins 5 or 6 more races in his career? That sounds wild. Improbable, right? But that's what the math would tell you. That's what the history would tell you. There's anomalies. There's people that break trends. He's certainly one of those guys. I mean, you had back in the day, Bobby Allison, Harry Gant, guys winning races in their 50s. Denny's got a lot of years left.
If he goes through another drought, though, I mean, he went through a drought. When was it, last year?
He's had a couple droughts.
He didn't win after April, was it?
I don't know. It was a long time.
Yeah.
But if he goes through another drought like that, does that number go to 5? 4?
I don't know.
He still won 3 last year.
Yeah. He's averaging, roughly three a year, right?
He's got 3 now.
Yeah. But he's averaging around 3 a year.
I think he can get to 63.
6 more wins?
Yeah.
So you think, okay. So, seriously, though, if he knew now, right this minute, that he has 6 wins left, he's raced his whole life. He's won 60 races, 57 races. And he's sitting here right now, right out in front of him is only 6 more trips to victory lane.
Doesn't seem like a lot.
Damn. That's a cold, hard truth.
The end is near.
The end is near, brother.
But I think he's aware of. I look at 6 more wins. Like people are averaging only 3 or 4 a season, anyways.
Well, no, not many are averaging 3 or 4 a season.
That's what I'm saying. So why is that cold?
Because he's got 57 wins right now.
Because you don't.
And he only has 6 more, roughly.
Do you not know? You name an athlete that you were enamored with and you watched their whole career play out in your lifetime.
Well, Denny Hamlin.
Think about guys like I go right to football players like Joe Montana, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. You remember when they played as a rookie?
Yeah.
And you remember their final game.
Yeah.
Right? And you didn't have like an emotion when they were finally getting to that finish line and you're like, damn, man, I can't believe I've seen this whole person's career and now it's over.
Yeah, I have that.
That's the thing I'm talking about.
But I don't see why this reaction that, he only has 6 more left. Like, I don't look at it that way. I look at it as he's got 6 more. Like, that's good.
Oh, I don't know.
I think
it's tough. It's tough emotionally for him.
That's what I was saying.
He would never admit it. But anybody that's a competitor that's done this their whole life, that's known nothing else, to know that you're coming to the very few final moments like that.
Yeah. 6 of 57 is not a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it depends. If he only races this year and next year, I think it's a good way to end your career, right?
I don't feel like Denny would be. I feel like Denny wants 10.
Well, what
he did say that he's more bothered now by the races that get away because he knows they're few and far between. Like he's
harder to come by.
He's more upset when because I was thinking about it the other day. He had a race somewhere where he should have won. He ran second or third.
Nashville last year.
No, it was recent. It was in the last year. It was the last 4 weeks or something. And he said, "Oh, I'm really more bothered by that today than I would have been when I was in my 20s or 30s." And I was thinking, man, you've done so much. You've won all these races. Why would you get so bothered by having a race slip out of your fingertips and running third? And at this point in your career, you should be satisfied, But he's like already, he's like, he knows that like his chances of going to the racetrack and literally having the race right there for the taking, he knows that runway's short.
Yeah.
That's why I said like he's celebrating because he knows at some point that celebration is going to stop. I do appreciate him wanting to have fun after victories because sometimes you see drivers and they're just like, they go through the motions.
Yeah. Boy, when you're getting toward the end, you do celebrate those last couple like it's like a person that would have just won their first race. Yeah, you do, because you don't know.
It's definitely something to think about.
Jimmy Johnson, did he think when he went to Dover in 2017 that was going to be the last one? Was it 17? I think it was.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah. Jimmy Johnson won his last race. I think it was 2017. Yeah. It's hard to believe that. He went to Dover, where he always wins, and won, and we walked out of there going, yep, just another day, Jimmy Johnson winning another Dover race, and that was it.
That was never again.
Damn. Yeah. Well, this could easily Denny's running good enough to keep winning. But he has to know, and I think everybody else has to know, that the sands in that hourglass are coming to the finish line. And I thought that I saw that stat about, Jeff Gordon and Harvick only winning 6 and 7 races after 700 starts, and I was like, damn it. Damn.
And every race that goes by, it's going to get a little bit harder.
Yeah. Because it's hard to quit this stuff, and Denny's not going to do it unless he can be competitive. And it's wild to me to sit here and see guys like Denny and even Brad Keselowski, winding down their careers and getting even near, even remotely near that finish line. It's crazy.
Do you think Denny races full time for 23XI? You mentioned him wanting to race for his own team. Do you think full time or like retiring part time?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think he finishes with Joe Gibbs.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think he wants to drive for himself.
Well, I think he could do like a 500, or I don't think he does full time.
I think a lot can change in 12, 24 months.
We also don't. We don't know the status of 23XI going forward too.
Well, if he has an all-star lineup with 3 guys or 3 teams and there's no room, but if there is a spot that opens up at the right time, I could see Denny doing it.
Yeah, that's the other thing I think that we need to chat about just quickly is the ruling for the injunction. The 23XI and Front Row Motorsports have taken NASCAR to court over the language and talks around the charters, and there's a lot of reasons why they wanted to do that. We won't dive into that right here. So they did not sign the charter agreement. All the other teams, I think 30 other charters are signed for, but they chose not to sign it, and to take NASCAR to court. While they were going to go to court, which this could last a year or two or so, they asked the courts to have NASCAR allow them to race as if they were chartered. So to still reap the benefits of the charter system, they wanted to be considered chartered teams during the litigation of the trial, during the trial. And so that was granted to them earlier in the year, and then recently a court of 3 judges, I guess, on this 7-judge panel or something. There was like, they had this court of appeals or whatever that decided, a federal court of appeals, right?
I just know that they went to Virginia and they had 3 judges that overheard the hearing between both sides.
And the judges said that NASCAR didn't need to consider them as chartered teams. And so they've now lost that ability to race as if they were chartered this year. They can appeal it. If they don't appeal, I think going into the Atlanta race, which is the first race of the TNT broadcasting portion of the year and the first race of the new in-season tournament, they're no longer chartered. They're open. So why that matters is a chartered team will get a lot more prize money over the course of the year, and it amounts to tens of millions of dollars. And so
it's a big deal.
If you have a charter, you're guaranteed a portion of the TV money from NASCAR. And in Denny's case, each charter is probably getting anywhere from $10 to $15 million. Just guessing, I'm probably high there, but if they would have signed the new agreement, they would be getting this money. They didn't want to sign it. They're suing NASCAR. They wanted to race as a chartered team through the courts. That was allowed. Now that's been pulled back. NASCAR doesn't have to pay them any money as if they were chartered for the rest of the year unless they win an appeal. That's fascinating as hell. In my opinion, it's a big win for NASCAR. Denny takes the approach that it's just a small part of the bigger picture in terms of the lawsuit, which he's correct. The lawsuit is about the charter system. They want a lot of things different than NASCAR does and how the charters are handled. I would be guessing at what those things were, but that's really what this is all about. It's not so much trying to race as a chartered team this year. They would love that luxury. It's still up in there whether they'll get it or not, but NASCAR seemed to have won a small battle right there.
Yeah.
And then the trial's in December.
Yeah, it's not for a while.
Yeah. So, I guess worst case scenario, Denny and those guys have to race as an open team the remainder of the year.
And for the most part, though, you're not even going to have more open entries trying to get in, so they'll be fine. Right?
Well, they're not going to be at risk of missing races.
Bianchi said maybe like Chicago, you could have some ringers come in.
They should be fine.
But
they're more than likely not going to be threatened to miss any races because there'll be so many open cars there. They might get out qualified. I'm not worried about that. I'm more worried, I think, that the financial burden that this places on the team. They have a budget at the start of the year anticipating that money that the charter brings in. And now that's why they wanted to race as a charter team. They need that money, right? And so while they will be able to survive it, it's going to be difficult financially, and they're taking that risk, right? They're going to take that financial risk because they believe in their case at the end of the year.
They could survive the year, but if they lose the case, then it's
What happens? The question then is what happens? Is there a chance that I wonder what the chances are that there's a settlement before the trial. I wonder what the chances are of NASCAR allowing them to come back. Like, what happens to these charters?
I'm curious if they'll talk. They've said mediation's really not a thing, but when you go to court, things change.
Oh, yeah.
It's easy to say things now. You haven't gone to court and you haven't seen where you're standing.
I know. Well, it's so fascinating, and I honestly did not feel. I was surprised that NASCAR got that win, that small win with the injunction.
I listened to the hearing, and when listening, I wasn't then shocked because the way the judges were responding, it just seemed like the judges basically said that to Front Row and 2311, you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
If you want to sue them, but you can't
sue them for the charter system that you're wanting to benefit from.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm sure I'll get a text from Denny when this comes out. He's gonna be like, "This is what's going on." All right. What do you want to do next?
He's a minute out from calling in.
Oh yeah, Denny's on the show. I forgot. Whether you've got one shelf or a whole wall dedicated to NASCAR diecast, there's always room for more. And nobody brings the excitement to the track and to your collection like Lionel Racing, the official diecast of NASCAR. From the legendary rides like the number 3 Goodwrench car to the paint schemes of today's hottest stars like Kyle Larson and Ross Chastain, Lionel Racing diecasts are built for true fans. Every car is authentically detailed, and most are available in both 124 and 164 scales. Whether you're after race wins, special finishes, autographed pieces, or the elite premier editions, Lionel has you covered. And right now, for a limited time, fans of the Dale Jr. Download can get free U.S. shipping on their next order at LionelRacing.com. Just use the promo code DJD25. That's promo code DJD25 at LionelRacing.com. All right, Denny Hamlin joins the Dale Jr. Download. This week's winner at Michigan. Denny, your Denny bro in here is super happy.
Oh, my gosh, dude.
Travis is so happy. He's wearing your hat.
He is. Glazing has been heavy today.
Yep.
Hey, easy. Kids, listen.
So, I have to ask you, man, when you got out and you did the Ohio State, and then you do that on the front straightaway, and then you say afterwards in the media center, that was for my buddy Travis. I don't want any trouble from the Michigan fans.
Right.
You can't do that on the front straightaway, and then ask for a reprieve.
That's fair.
It's enemy territory.
Have you heard any blowback from that or any pushback?
Well, Michael's publicist is a Michigan grad, and she does not appreciate it. I can tell you that. Actually, some of our legal team is Michigan grads as well. Yeah. And so, I don't know. I'm definitely pressing some buttons over there, no doubt.
For sure. So I thought it was interesting. Somebody asked you a question about all the things that you got going on and how do you strap into the car and do that job that you did this past Sunday. You do, when it is pretty impressive, man, that you're 44 years. How old are you? 44?
Yeah.
You're 44 years old. Not many race car drivers win races beyond that 43-year mark. But you're 44, still at the top of your game, get in a car, drive great, do all those things, but you're also a team owner. You're out there actually racing against your cars, passing them throughout the day Sunday. But you have the litigation going on with NASCAR. You just have a lot happening, and I don't understand how you have, number one, how do you have time in the day to sit down and do 5 minutes with us or anybody else in the media, and how you can compartmentalize everything and, talk to us about a race when you have some serious going on in your life.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like every 15 minutes is just filled up in my days. I mean, I'm late to this interview because I'm going to the doctor with Jordan, right? Yeah. It's just, it's part of my life, and it's my own fault because I put all this stuff on my plate, but it's, it is what I choose also, right? I mean, you had a choice when you're when you retired, well, do you want to just go, hang out with the kids and the wife and go do, go to Key West and that's where you're going to or are you going to continue working, stay in the booth, do your podcast? Like it's the life we choose. Right. Yeah. And so I feel as though, it's where I'm most happy. So I really enjoy it. I enjoy being part of it. I enjoy, giving back to the sport. And so, yeah, I just can't imagine myself not being busy. And someone actually asked in the media center, post race, like if you had 1 hour open in the afternoon, what would you do? And I was like, man, that one might be one of the best questions I've gotten in a while. And I said, truthfully, I would schedule what I'm going to do next. That's what I would do. I swear, I would say, okay, what have I put off? Okay, I need to do that real quick. And then let me prioritize, the next things in line that I need to work on or do. But the one thing, to go back to just your question to answer it, is that I've never interrupted the process in which I go through each and every weekend to prepare. That has not changed since I owned a team. It's the same process. So I never take on anything that jeopardizes my on-track performance, and I think that's why it stayed the same.
Man, it's pretty fascinating. I love the history of the sport. I love diving into the numbers and how some people have really long careers, can win races well beyond a certain age, while others don't. There's a lot of factors that play a role in that, man, but you seem set up for success for many more years. The challenges of you're out there. I wonder about this. You're out there on the racetrack. You don't let anything disrupt what you need to do to win the race on Sunday. How hard is it, I guess, to not have your focus go anywhere near, what your team is doing 23-11. They're out on the racetrack. They're trying to compete. There's times when they're successful. There's times when they're struggling. I wonder, when you're out there battling Reddick, for example, you and him going side by side down the back straightaway, I wonder how you handle. I had a tough time with that, being out on the racetrack with my own car.
Mm-hmm.
And part of me wanted to do what I could to help that car,
right?
But and then I wasn't thinking about exactly what I needed to do to help myself. And I wonder how you deal with that.
Well, there was a moment at the end of the race, not the end, but it was probably right before the last pit stop. I passed Reddick, and then at that point, I made a run at the top two, and I kind of was just getting stalled behind him. I really wasn't making much progress, and if anything, kind of dropping back from him, really to just kind of let me cool my stuff off, and I'm going to make another run at this. But during that time, Reddick was coming on really strong, and at that point, I made a move up high in 3 and 4. He now gets to the inside of me, and at that point, I'm like, I got a decision to make. Do I fight him tooth and nail, knowing every spot matters, especially inside this 60, 70 lap to go window? Or do I, and potentially compromise both our chances to win? Or do I just let him go? And then if I let him go, continue his run towards the front, then that's another opportunity for me to win. And at that time, I didn't think I was good enough to go past those two. Now, the caution comes not long after, and I think, I just gave up one spot that I potentially could have came off pit road first here. Well, he had a bad stop. I had a bad stop. It didn't matter. But at that point, I'm always going to prioritize me winning first. But I feel like I'll never do anything to compromise both of us not having a chance to win. And it really happened throughout the race, too. Anytime me and Reddick were around each other, we did not spend any time side by side. We tried to get it back in line as quick as possible because it's just one of those tracks where you cannot run side by side. So I'm always going to root for me first, selfishly, because I've got a much shorter window at winning than what he does and that team does. So I, on Sundays, totally concentrate on me unless I'm out of it because I got damage or something like that. And I really start downloading how their day is going and how their weekend went when I get in the plane on the ride home. That's when I start working on, okay, How can they be better? What did they do? How'd their race go? What was going on? I'm more inquisitive post race than I am during.
Yeah, we have started talking about the runway to the finish line for you, the ultimate finish line. And I don't know that you know when that is. You might have some ideas on how you want to wrap it up. We have debated whether you would drive for your own team. I think that there's a day where you race a race at least, but would you ever consider racing full time for yourself?
Yeah, I would consider it. No question. I mean, the problem is, will I be limited by the charter agreement? Ultimately, I mean, the new rules is we can only have 3.
Yep.
And so I personally think that makes it very, very challenging when you have to go up against teams that are grandfathered in at 4. Like, how is that not an advantage? But I don't know. If I was forced to be an open 4th car full time, I don't see how. The whole thing doesn't make financial sense to me anyway, much less when you get tens of millions of dollars less money than you're scheduled to get.
Yeah. Well, man, I know you got a lot going on, and I know you're about to have a baby boy born any minute. Excited about that for you. I can't imagine how that's going to feel and how that's going to change your life. But good luck with everything going on, man. We'll see you at the racetrack.
Thanks. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
See you, man.
Hey, it's Dale Jr. Did you know that we've got brand new merch from our Stars, Stripes, and Beers collection available now? We've got tanks, tees, beach towels, and more just in time for summer. Check it all out at shop.dirtymomedia.com. Hey, NASCAR fans, you know booming speeds when you see it. Xfinity Wi-Fi, they are booming this year with the roar, like the roar of a NASCAR engine on race day. It's reliable as one of the best pit crews in the garage and as fast as a V8 engine. Xfinity Wi-Fi gives you the power and speed of NASCAR right there in your home. And just choose the right plan for you, and you're on your way. You're off to the races. The best streaming experience for NASCAR and all your favorite sports. Xfinity Wi-Fi is booming. They don't just raise the bar. They stream in overdrive. Xfinity, proud premier partner of NASCAR. Let's get right to the questions.
Let's do it. This first one is coming from Nicholas. They saw Becoming Earnhardt is coming soon. So what can we expect? Can you give us a teaser as to what is coming for Becoming Earnhardt 1980?
Yeah, Becoming Earnhardt is just a show that I started. I got these 2 scrapbooks from my aunt. When my grandmother passed away, we went to her house. We're kind of looking through some of the things and, photos and all kinds of stuff. And there's these 2 scrapbooks that my aunt made, and they are literally, one is from the 79 year and one's from the 80 Cup season. And she cut out every article and everything. And so right there in front of me, man, is basically just kind of like a book of like, here's what happened to Dad. And, I just never really dove into that real deeply to get details about that particular couple of years when he drove for Rod Osterlund and landed his first full-time ride in NASCAR. So we decided to make a series, Becoming Earnhardt, to detail what's in those scrapbooks and the things that we learned. It's pretty interesting. 1980 is what this particular season of Becoming Earnhardt will be focusing on, and there is a high-profile split with crew chief Jake Elder. How Jake handles that in the media is wild. Like, Jake goes off the rails. Jake comes back on the rails. It's just wild. And Dad and Cale get nippy in the media late in the year. Cale actually is real critical of Dad on the racetrack. And, just watching that whole, kind of reliving, putting yourself in the moment of going back through that particular year. I think it's really fun for me. I'm a nostalgia freak. I love the history of the sport. So just it is a great time for me. Good reason, good excuse for me to sort of dive more into learning more about that particular part of Dad's life. And so I lived a lot of the late 80s and the 90s. I wasn't even in Dad's life in 1980. I was not living with him yet. So and the car that he won the championship with, the car that he finished the last lap at Ontario and clinched the title is that car sitting right here in front of us. That's the freaking car that was there that day that he drove. It's just wild to me. So, the aura off of the thing is just insane. And so pretty cool. Should be a lot of fun for people to listen to. They'll be very, it's a bit similar to the first series. If you listen to Becoming Earnhardt, the first series, the episodes are really detailed and long. There was a lot of stuff in there that I wanted to force into each episode, and there was a lot that didn't get added that I wanted to talk about. But these will be much easier to consume. This will be a more friendly, nicer appetite of a show.
That has to be such a challenge to figure out what to include, what not to, because all these details are like, oh, this is so good, but it could be so niche. So.
And what you'll hear is we'll have some special guests. Deb Williams, who's been a reporter and writing about NASCAR forever. She lived through all of this. She's part of it. Doug Richard is the crew chief on the car, is in the show. We did some interviews with him, some new stuff. And then we used a lot of original calls from MRN. And there was also an alternate broadcasting network that is now property of App State, the college.
Wow.
And so we went to their archives to pull out some of the original calls from those radio broadcasts. And so hearing all that stuff's a lot of fun.
That is super cool. And Timms he's entered the room. He's worked very hard on that.
Yes.
Can't wait to listen to it.
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to listen to it. I want to listen to it when everyone else does. But this next question coming from Brian on Twitter. What's the story on this decal from this late model? And he's referring to the Calvin decal, and I might be able to show the screen.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah. So
what's the story behind this?
Yeah, I've talked about this before, but some people may not know. JW was another late model racer, Jerry Williams. He was he might have been, I know he was a Mid-Atlantic champion one year. He might have been a national champion. I can't remember, but he was a really solid racer around Myrtle Beach and Florence and that area, Somerville, I suppose. But that was like my second or third year maybe at Myrtle Beach. Mm-hmm. And I was racing with him. We were running a 150 lapper one night at the beach, and I didn't have a lot of racecraft, so I'd make mistakes. I get underneath him down the front straightaway. We're coming down into turn one, and I overdrove the entry, and I slid up the track, and I hit him in the left rear tire pretty hard. It spun us both out. It bent the drag link on my car. I was out of the race. I think he was also out. It probably knocked the left rear tire off his car. But we hit hard, spun out. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I made a mistake, and screwed up my race. Well, we come back like 2 or 3 weeks later for a regular 100 lap feature. And I am a freaking half a lap ahead, cruising to a victory. Car's hauling ass. And I'm flying. And man, the race is just going by and going by. There's not a whole lot going on. Everybody's super spread out. I'm lapping up to like 4th place. Well, I come up on him to put him a lap down, and he pulled really low down the back straightaway, and I thought, that's odd. I think he's going to try to get me down here in turn 3 and 4. We go down into turn 3 and 4, and I see him. He's coming up the track, and I'm driving up the track toward the wall in the middle of the corner trying to run away from him. And he finally gets up to me and hits me in the left rear tire, spins me out. I ended up running 4th that night or something, but I was no question going to win the feature that night. And so that was at the very end of the year. That particular race was the All-American 400, probably about 112, 115 late model stocks. There were a lot of all-pro cars there, big race. And that was the Calvin pissing on JW, pissing on Jerry Williams. We put that on there because we were so mad.
It's aggressive
that we got spun out.
Did he see it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he didn't. If he didn't see it that day, we've talked about it on this show several times.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
that's a good way to get back at somebody.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have loved to have just won the feature and not gotten spun out.
Right. But instead, you made a sticker.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got time for one more quick question, and it's from Vicky. What's one item of your dad's that you don't have but wish you did?
Oh, man. I mean, there's... I mean, I don't know that there's something that stands out. I really don't know that there's something that stands out. You know, I guess if there was a rifle or a shotgun that Ralph had given him, might be cool. Something that had been given to him by Ralph.
Yeah,
any kind of
like that is in
any
the
kind of
family
item.
now.
Yeah,
yeah,
that would be kind of neat. I'm sure. So there's he had this closet, where nobody's been in this closet since the day he passed away. And so there's a lot of stuff in there that's probably, if I could go to a space to take a look at what is physically there, that's absolutely no question where I'd go. But yeah, there's all kinds of stuff in that room that, you know, old racing uniforms and his gun collection and all types of stuff like that.
This closet, and you might not know much about it, so I apologize if it's like a dumb question, but like, is it his personal stuff in there? Is it like memorabilia, or is it like a mix of?
It's his own things. Yeah. No memorabilia.
Cool.
I don't want any memorabilia.
Right. Well, I mean, like you know, is it racing related, or is it life related? Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, but it's old uniforms. Mine and Kelly's military uniforms are in this closet.
Oh.
Yeah, so some of our stuff's in there. I think Kelly stuck some of her old racing uniforms in there as well.
Yeah.
And so it'd be cool to see some of that stuff, or even, you know, get it. But it's not pressing.
Yeah.
But maybe one day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good place to. I know it was quick. I saw some great questions. I wrote them down. So if you didn't hear your question, tune in for the later weeks. So
I appreciate it, everybody. Yeah, we had to kind of shorten this one up just a little bit because we went really long on our show, and we got an interview and all kinds of other things going on today. I got to go to an appearance. It's a full day. Thank you, Xfinity, for bringing the Ask Junior segment to us again this week. Be sure to check out Xfinity Wi-Fi. They experience the booming speeds for yourself. Their Wi-Fi service is fast, and as NASCAR fans, we all know what fast is. And choose the right plan for you. You're off to the races. Best streaming experience in NASCAR and for all your favorite sports. Xfinity Wi-Fi is booming. They don't just raise the bar. They stream in overdrive. Xfinity is a proud premier partner of NASCAR, and we thank them. All right, everybody, it's time for Dirty Modo here with Tampa Timms. TJ is going to stick around. We also have Russell, the professor, joining us. Thank you, Russell, for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this segment of Dirty Modo is brought to you by FanDuel, the premier gaming destination in the United States. Our manufacturer parlay from this past weekend did not hit. I think we had Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, and who else?
I believe William Byron.
Byron.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we whiffed big time on Joey Logano.
Yeah.
But Byron was close. Hey, how'd your day go, Timms?
Not great. I didn't bet a lot, but I liked Chris Buescher a lot and bet him and Ford. So over 2.
Yeah, somebody I thought on social media I saw they had success with a top 10 bet we encouraged, but not a great week overall. Except I guess Russell, you picked the winner.
Yeah, the predictor had the winner. Yeah,
there you go.
There you go.
You're proud of that, aren't you?
I am. Yes.
All right, we head to Mexico City.
Well, hold on a second. How were the notes, Dale?
What notes?
The Russell notes for you, the one-liners.
Oh, good. They were good.
No complaints?
No.
That's it?
Yep. They were good. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if this is that compelling, but he wrote them in a way that you would say it. And I thought to myself, this should be the way they always should be done. I don't know why this is easier for me, but not easier for him, I suppose.
No other complaints then? We're good?
I don't suppose.
Okay.
Now, the only problem is that Steve Letarte liked them, and he wants them that way as well. Russell told me not to show them to Steve because he knew that would happen.
Yeah. So. And instead of having to do them that way for 10 weeks, I have to do them that way for 24 weeks.
Well, now you don't have to do them the other way.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I got a lot of problems from your booth mates this morning.
I heard
about the Mexico City notes. I don't know what their problem was.
Maybe the fact that the header for the email was in Spanish.
He knows the ish.
They might not know what those words mean.
I heard the best way to learn a new language is to immerse yourself in it. So
okay, yep. Well, not everybody wants to get on that boat with you. Is that what their complaint was?
Yeah, all the notes were in Spanish. So
yeah, from top every note. You had fun doing that, didn't you? Took a little extra time out of your day.
Marv, our producer, was the best part of it.
Yeah, what'd he say?
Yeah, he thought he hit some button on the screen. He was trying to figure out what button to hit, turn it back to English.
That's hilarious. Well, I mean, I guess you could just totally translate it.
Yeah, I'm sure you could these days.
Yeah. All right. Well, we head to Mexico City this week. Who are the drivers that have competed there?
So Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, and Keselowski, but then also Suarez has competed there in NASCAR Mexico, and then it actually won there. And then Michael McDowell's won there in a Grand Am car as well.
Wow. Did Keselowski run there the final year in 08? Do you have the rundowns from those events?
He had to have. He had to drive for you.
Right? I saw a video on Instagram yesterday of the rundown, and he was in the 88 car.
Yeah,
he
definitely
eighth. There you go. All right, so I think that's an important thing to consider, that Denny and these other drivers have ran laps there. Most of the field will acclimate themselves over the course of the weekend, and there are parts of the racetrack that are new, particularly in the stadium area toward the finish line. But I just watching those races back this week, knowing the technical side of the first 3 turns and then the final backside of the racetrack through the S's. Denny was really strong there in 07, won the race before in 06. And so I don't look at Denny and go, man, great road racer. But for whatever reason, I just feel like that as soon as they go to that racetrack and as soon as they pull out there and start making laps, it's just going to really feel natural and comfortable. It'll come right back to them. And I feel like that they'll have an advantage, at least as the weekend kicks off.
There's a lot of long practices.
There is a lot of practices. This won't be a traditional weekend where there will be a good amount of time for the drivers to go out there and get used to the racetrack. But again, I still feel like that advantage of having been there and ran laps there is going to be a pretty sizable one that will start to really erode away, maybe even midway through the race. So with all that said, who are the drivers that we're looking at as favorites?
Kyle Busch, Christopher Bell, SVG, William Byron, and I'd say Tyler Reddick. You can also include Chase Elliott in there. I'd say that those are your top 6. I'd say your winner comes from there with an outside chance of like Chris Buescher or Kyle Busch, Michael McDowell. Those would be my 3 like sleepers, if you will.
Okay. Kyle Busch, Christopher Bell, Byron, Chase Elliott. Who are the other 2? Reddick.
Of the guys that I think are going to win?
Yeah, Reddick.
The top of the predictor is Larson, Bell, SVG, William Byron, and Tyler Reddick.
All right. And then Buescher, McDowell.
Yeah, I love Buescher. He has the best average finish in the next gen car on road courses. Won at Watkins Glen. Just really well on the road courses, but underappreciated in my opinion.
What about Alex win in Chicago?
That was a fluke. I don't like talking about that.
Oh, my goodness. You don't like talking about it.
That cost Russ a lot of money.
Yeah.
It did.
That was dinner.
He had to pay for 2 steaks.
That was dinner in Phoenix.
That was, yeah, I had to pay for my 2 steaks and then whatever else Stevie thought we could fit on the table at the time.
Oh, man. All right, so let's talk about who we want to who we want to bet for our outright winner.
I like Kyle Busch plus 1,600.
Damn.
Yeah.
What's Chase Elliott?
Plus 1,100.
I like Chase.
You like Chase?
Really?
I do, yeah.
AJ Allmendinger wasn't mentioned either, and he's plus 1,500. I like that too. I think AJ, this is what they're circled on the calendar.
I agree because of the it's not a, AJ, SVG, the guys that are like road course ringers, they're not ringers anymore because all these other drivers have ran Watkins Glen 1,000 times, right? They've ran Sonoma 1,000 times. But this is exactly like going to Chicago. This is, there's only a select few drivers that have actually been on this circuit.
So I have a question though.
So I think it gives SVG and AJ, you got to bump them a little bit.
Yeah, their natural
because
ability.
Their natural ability and to charge and exceed all the braking zones, to do all the things right, gives them at least 5 spots, right? So
I like that.
But does this course isn't a very it's very flat and not as
it's technical as hell.
So, because I've been told from drivers that this isn't one that like SVG can just roll in like he did Chicago and dominate.
I feel like the more technical, the better he is.
Well, I think Chicago was a perfect storm.
Absolutely.
But I still do think that they're, to your point, TJ, their God-given ability to run better at road courses. They're better road course racers. They are.
Oh, yeah.
They're better road course races. So if you send everybody to a course they've never been to, who do you think is going to be good? Those 2 guys.
Yeah.
Now, you're going to also have the list that Russell mentioned. They'll all be competitive. Larson, they'll all run AJ and SVG for everything they're worth. And then you'll have Hamlin and Kyle Busch, Keselowski that have had, Kesy's pretty bad at road courses, but Suarez, his experience here, McDowell, those guys that actually have laps on the track, that gives them an advantage. But I wouldn't be surprised to see SVG and AJ. The colleague stuff is better this year.
Mm-hmm.
It has been better,
quite a bit better.
That's why I'm surprised he's plus 1,500. That's like 8th, 9th best, and I think he should be way up there.
Yeah,
so that's good right now. Good value.
Yeah, this will be a fun one.
To Tim's point, though, Kyle Busch's best run this year was at COTA. Led 42 laps there. He's one of those winners at Mexico City too. So I think he's probably the best bet.
Really?
I do like him
for
too.
those odds.
Yeah.
They didn't like him the day he won there though, because he wrecked that Adrian Fernandez to win that race, and they did not like Kyle that day.
Well, I don't think that has any bearing on this weekend.
No, not
you
anymore.
Just wanted us to be impressed with your knowledge.
I was there. I watched it.
Okay.
It was fun. It was fun. That racetrack definitely presents a lot of opportunity for things like that. So,
well, I like that, man. What are we gonna? Let's pick some. Let's do a manufacturer parlay.
I think Reddick for Toyota, maybe.
I would have went Bell, but I could live with Reddick.
He's the gambler.
Yeah.
Reddick will probably have better odds, but I like Bell. Bell's really strong at COTA. I think that will translate.
Yeah, I'm leaning more towards Bell right now.
Bell it is.
C-Bell. All right. We're going with, do we think that Buescher backs it up for Ford? Let's go.
I think he could.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think, Russ?
Yeah, I just don't know who else you're going to put in there.
All right, Buescher it is. We were going to be a week late to the Buescher parade.
Yeah. This is the tough one. Chevy's the tough one. I still like AJ. I don't know.
You think if between SVG and AJ, who do you take?
I'm leaning SVG right now.
Me too.
We go SVG.
If I'm going to lose a bet, I'm losing with SVG on the card.
It'll be fun to watch.
Let's put SVG up there.
And he's actually, he's improving on his oval stuff this year as well. I don't know if many people notice it, but he's getting more comfortable with the cars and stuff.
Yeah.
Go back-to-back top 20s,
I don't know, man. Well, you sure we shouldn't put Kyle Busch there?
That's a lot. I'm fine with either one of those three.
He's going to spin out, doesn't he?
Kyle?
At some point, right? Does the predictor put spin outs in there?
The predictor has either Larson or SVG for this one.
Okay, SVG.
Yeah.
All right. SVG, Buescher, and
Bell.
Let's
go with it.
Lock it in. All right, Russell, thanks for calling in today.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you helping us out. Thanks, Timms.
Thank you.
All right, Dirty Modo segment brought to you by FanDuel, the premier gaming destination of the United States. All right, it's time for the white flag. The teardown was live after the race on Sunday on YouTube and Twitter. If you haven't, make sure to subscribe to Dirty Mo Media on YouTube. You'll get notifications when the teardown goes live post-race. You can listen to the Amazon post-race and then, bam, teardown. You're going to get more post-race than you know what to do with. Actions Detrimental was taped on Monday. It's always fun hearing the episodes after Denny has a victory. I'm sure the drivers love it. I know the drivers listen to Denny's show. Do they listen after he wins? I bet they might skip those. Door Bumper Clear dropped on Monday. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. joined them this week. Wonder what they talked about, TJ.
Probably not Hocevar.
Yeah. And then I have an interview with David Green, one of the Green brothers. Jeff Green raced for Dad, and David raced in the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series. Mm-hmm. And now he works in NASCAR as a technical inspector.
1995 champion.
That's right. Herman Schrader and Speed Street also will come out Wednesday as well. Thursday, for Bless Your Heart, there'll be a special guest on that show. I'm off to Mexico, but Amy is going to have a big surprise for you. All right, that's the show. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank y'all for tuning in.